Good morning, Michael. How are
Hey,
you?
Ty. First off, let me say you are looking mighty dapper today. You're looking sharp.
I'm on my way to court, eviction court of all things. The most interesting thing about this deal is it's something I've been working on for more than a year. And it's crazy. I'm in contract for more than a year. We took over the eviction portion of it. And so I don't mind. But the beauty is that over the last year, the house has like gone up in value. So I
I'm
got a
guessing
feeling
that,
we're going to do
yeah,
well.
the house hasn't gone down in value, has it?
No. So, we're going to do,
Yeah.
thank you everybody watching Friday financial wrap up. I always have the great pleasure of having Michael on. We are streaming live to Facebook. Some of you may be viewing this on YouTube later as a recorded, it's Friday. It's April 2nd. First of all, how do you feel about Q1 for real estate specifically?
I think Q1 is going to go down in the books. Lots of aspects, both real estate, economy, jobs, all these other pictures as kind of the last quarter of the dark tunnel. If you've been following our discussions or my channel for the last 18 months or so, I've been using the analogy of a tunnel. Where are we? Is there any light out there? Well, gosh darn it, we are standing right on the edge. We are technically still in the dark, but we are one step away from entering the sunlight. Spring, summer, the economy is going well. We got a great job creation number this morning. Thursday's unemployment claims a little disappointing. We'll see what next week looks like, but damn it. United's hiring pilots. We got hotels at record occupancy since 2019. I think things are going to get very, very good for the economy. We have record savings that is going to be deployed. We have that fourth lane of the highway coming back called the service sector. So I expect the next 12 months to be remarkably different than the last 12 months.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. So yes, we've talked about it. You've talked about it. We're in the tunnel and now we can see the light. Vaccines are rolling out. It's a beautiful thing. Let me ask you, there's been a lot of talk, and I know in the financial news talking about inflation. And so, people have kind of frameworked it as a super negative thing, but I think there is a friend and a foe. I think it's both sides of it. Why don't you speak to that?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because, if you just kind of follow the talking heads, they throw out inflation is all negative, right? Gas up, food up, healthcare, housing, just everything's more expensive. And if you decide to only be a consumer, right? You only have your household, you're only consuming, then yes, everything about inflation is bad. It's also eating any savings you have. So it's all bad. But if you're following one rental at a time, you're part of Squad Up, you can actually let inflation be your friend, right? Inflation either is in your face or it is at your back. And I can promise you this very, very much. The rich, the wealthy, whoever you want to kind of point at, they let inflation be their friend. What does that really mean? First off, they don't have a coupon. Food's still more expensive. Gas is still more expensive. What they have done is they've accumulated assets like real estate that are inflation hedges. What does that mean? All right, fine. Well, that means if you own a bunch of assets with cheap 30-year debt that's fixed and it inflates in value, what has happened to real estate this year? According to Case-Shiller Index, the last 12 months, nationally speaking, they're up roughly 12%. Again, you go borrow 80% of the loan, you only put 20% up, the whole thing inflates by 12%, you've got, 80% on your money. There's another aspect. One rental at a time is buy and hold rentals. The other thing we are seeing in this economy is single family homes are hot, 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 especially affordable single family homes. So we are seeing rent increases in single family homes of 5, 10, 15, 20, 25% because there's no supply. It's a supply and demand equation. So what I would tell you is you can either sit there and let inflation punch you in the face or steal money from your wallet, whatever analogy you like, or you can let inflation be your friend. And, as far as I'm concerned, the Fed, right? The Fed, the government is telling us we are going to inflate ourselves out of this pandemic. So you know what? I'm going to get as much residential, cheap 30-year money that I can and let inflation be my friend. Let inflation be my partner. So you have a choice, friend or foe.
I love it. I love it. So, something I talked about, or we mentioned, we had a brief conversation on pre-roll is, as a kid, I can remember in the 1970s, and I'm going to ask you kind of your opinion of history and where we're at, what we can compare the pandemic to. As an example, I remember as a kid paying attention to real estate, and I can remember friends and family members becoming incredibly wealthy or doing incredibly well with lots of upward mobility because in the early 70s they bought a house for 25 or 30,000, and then that house went to 60, then it went to 90, and then in the 80s it pulled back a little bit back to 85, but then it went from 85 to 180. And so we've seen that. That's a pretty natural progression. I love spending time with baby boomers and hearing all the war stories. So my question to you is, Michael, are we post 9/11? Is it 2001, 2002, where now the interest rates are low, we start to see a boom in the market? Is it post World War II? We're just coming out of something, maybe even coming out of the Great Depression. Is it the 1970s where we're going to see, like we talked about, fuel costs, household goods, hyperinflation during the 1970s? Jimmy Carter was our president at the time. Where do you see us kind of historically right now in comparison to some of those trends?
I'm so glad you asked that, because that's an important question. Because based on what you think we are, like if you think it's the 1970s and hyperinflation is coming, you're going to make one set of investment decisions. Where if you think it's post 9/11 or the great, we're coming out of the Great Recession, you make different decisions. I actually think the closest analogy is actually back to the 1920s. Right, coming off the Spanish flu of the 1918s. What I think is going to happen is, back then we had kind of a 10 or 12-year run that unfortunately ultimately ends in the Great Depression. Let's be clear. But those first 4 or 5 years, we were basically feeling good. It was like, hey, that thing didn't kill us. We're gonna go enjoy life. And I think that's what's going to happen, dude. We got so much savings on the sidelines. We have an economy that's improving. The economy could grow the United States economy could grow 10% in Q2. That's not normal, right? It is going to be this transition from dark, 14 months of dark, dreary, dread is going to transfer into glorious times. And like we've never seen sunlight before. Just before we started this call, CDC put out a note that said, you know what? If you are fully vaccinated, go travel, right? No restrictions. Dude, this freaking summer is going to be amazing for the service industry. Why is that important? Because the service industry got smacked. All this unemployment, or at least most of it, is in the service industry. You want to see record hiring? Just wait. You want to see wage inflation? Just wait. These businesses are going to have to bring people back fast. They're going to pay more for them. It is going to be amazing.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. So that brings up a point. I know there's been a lot of negative news about interest rates. And I think it's interesting just because you and I talk to a lot of people and, you have a beautiful reach with your YouTube channel. I hear a lot of just, comments and things on social media where people are like, they think interest rates are going to basically kind of, cut the market off, or we're going to see something kind of a decline or even a tsunami of foreclosures. And just why don't you speak to interest rates and the reality of what you're seeing?
Yeah. So and actually one of my experts, Greg talks about this on Mondays, and I've told him I disagree with him. There's a talk track and there's a YouTube entertainer out there with 1.5 million subscribers that says if interest rates go up 1%, property values fall 10%. It's a lovely math, right? It's kind of intellectually stimulating because you don't have to think about it. However, unfortunately, having been doing this for a while, that it doesn't work that way. And it certainly doesn't work that quick, right? People expect it instantaneously. What I would tell people right now is you're failing to appreciate that the first point or even point and a half is artificial. The federal government, because of what we have gone through in the Fed, has artificially depressed rates to a level that will spring back over the next year or so and not impact real estate prices at all, right? It's just artificial stimulus low. They're buying 50 to 100 billion in mortgage-backed bonds, and they're just freaking hammering the rate lower. So here's the deal. Let's just call interest rates on 30-year mortgage 3% today. They could go to about 4.25 or 4.5 and not impact demand at all. Yes, some people will not qualify and all of that. Well, guess what? We'll go from having 21 offers to 12 offers. It doesn't, I mean, that doesn't fix supply, right? Demand sure is less, but we have a supply problem. So, but if you go from, let's say, 4.25 to 5.25, now you're going to start impacting affordability and prices could come down. But I don't think anybody out there is calling for a 30-year mortgage to be above 5% this year. I mean, that's just too far, too fast. So again, I don't like rules of thumb because they're kind of sexy. People take them as gospel where they're more just rules, the quick rules of math. Again, interest rates, I think bottomed out at 2.5, 2.6. They'll go all the way to 5.25, which will not impact prices at all. So we're talking almost 22 points, which would be 20% in that easy math. There's no real estate market that's going to fall 20% this year. And people that are saying that are just wrong. It just won't happen. The supply demand equation is just not there.
Supply and demand. I couldn't agree with you more. And I love that we're in these conversations. And even if for some of you that are newer and this is a new conversation, or you're just finding Michael's information, I would encourage you to go back and really watch the last 90 days of financial news and all the things that Michael's talked about, because I think you've really shown that it's practical. You're somebody that's not just talking about it, but you're in the game and on the field. You have a portfolio. So,
oh yeah, I mean, I'm an open book. And the beauty of the daily financial news is you can go back several years. I've done a daily show 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year, including Christmas, including Mother's Days, including Valentine's Day, every day. You can go back and look, and sometimes I'm wrong, but again, I'm making judgments based on 90 minutes of reading every day, and I do it again the next day, and I'll do it tomorrow, and I'll do it the day after. And yeah, there's just lots of stuff going on. And again, I'm adding to my portfolio. I'm refining debt, and I'm going to be bigger next year than I am now, and bigger the year after that than now. And of course, talking about my rental portfolio. But yeah, I do what I say all the time.
I love it. I love it. So the last question I want to ask you is something we talked again pre-roll is being ready for the opportunity.
Yeah.
What do people need to do? Like, what's really actionable? Like, people are watching this, you put out such great content. And so what is the next, like, actionable? What do you foresee for real estate professionals, for lenders, for investors, for first-time investors?
Mm-hmm.
Just speak to kind of the actionable items of, like, what should people be doing right now to prepare?
Yeah. First thing I want to do is I want to talk to the person that's frustrated, right? If you've been in the game, either as an investor or an owner, the last year has been really hard. And I want to say I'm in the same boat, right? I made lots of offers and didn't get anything off the MLS. So first, know that I'm in your same boat. But that's not permission to stop, right? You have to realize the last 12 months have been artificially compressed, and unnatural things have led to where we are. All of those things are going to be reversing, which means inventory is going to be building as we go forward. We won't exit 2021 with only 1 million available homes. It will be significantly larger than that. So stay in the game. This is not the time to say, I've done 7 offers, I'm frustrated, I'm giving up. Wrong. It's like halftime. Come back stronger, get ready. The next 3 months or 90 days, we are going to see inventory jumps. And that's the beauty of my channel is I talk to agents all the time, and they're telling me they can see it. Move up buyers are happening, but the inventory is so compressed, it's still happening quick. But that's step 1. That happens more and more. And then pretty soon days on markets will expand, and then opportunities and quality differences will come. So you need to get ready now, the next 90 days, so you are ready when you see those deals and you can pounce in 90 days. I think inventory pictures in most markets are vastly different come July. I expect to be very active. But again, don't hear me say July and you think I'm doing nothing now. I'm making offers now because I never know when in my market I'll find that great deal. So first, if you're frustrated, I feel you. I'll commiserate with you for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to tell you to get back to work. Get back to work, learn your market. If you haven't done a deal and you're seeing all these headlines about overbidding and 200 grand over and all these things, and you think that's permission to do nothing, you're wrong. It's permission to get in the game. Whether you're doing this now or 2010, which was the best market ever, it starts with 90 days of preparation. You have to focus and daily execute. You know this, you're in my course. That's all step one is. I'm not here to preach, all these big things. I want to smack you out of the gate and say, okay, if you're serious, what is your focus? Do the work. Let's go. 10 to 20 minutes a day. You execute 10 to 20 minutes a day, as we talk about in the course. You join the Facebook Lives on Saturdays. You're going to be remarkably prepared come second half. And, I have a positive impact score that is really keen on how many deals my students do. And I'll give you a little tease here on Friday. We're already at 7 deals this week. And that'll be a record. Students have done 7 deals already across the country. And that makes me amazed. I'm just so proud of that fact. And maybe we can sneak in 1 or 2 more before I report the numbers on Sunday. So it's going to be fun.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you, Michael. As always, I want to encourage folks to follow you. He's got an awesome YouTube channel. You can find him on YouTube. You can find him on Facebook, Instagram, all the social platforms. He's at One Rental at a Time. By the way, he's also got, I want to show the book again, right? I'm promoting the book. So
there you go.
Here's the book, folks. One Rental at a Time. Also, too, for those of you, I know we gifted a bunch of books. I said this week. I'm going to say it, remind some of you. Go on to Amazon and give him a 5-star review. If you like the book, if you appreciate the book, let's give Michael this. Let's support him also by giving him good feedback on the content on Amazon. Michael, any other closing words?
No, I think that's it. I really believe we are standing right on the edge, and it's time to get ready. You don't get ready once the fight happens, right? You got to get ready before the fight, and get ready now so you don't have to get ready later.
I love it. Let's get ready now. Let's take action. We'll see you guys again next week. Thank you so much for your time, Michael.
Take care, buddy.